No one likes taxes to any degree, but the property tax is probably the most loathed. But as far as taxes go, it is one of the more fair, equitable, and accurate forms of taxation. The offices of the assessor, auditor, commission, and treasurer make up the checks and balances within the county to make sure it stays that way. Property tax is often misunderstood. It isn't the county property tax, it is the county property tax bill. You see, the county collects taxes for all of the local entities. So even when a county doesn't raise taxes, but a city or school district does, they still feel the ire of the citizens. Generally, about half of the property tax goes to the local school districts, and the remaining half is further divvied up among the county, city, and special service districts. Those dollars go towards resources to keep the community safe, building and maintaining infrastructure, like roads, as well as many amenities like parks and keeping pesky mosquitoes at bay. Recent headlines have focused on a handful of communities that are seeing budget increases this year. Those proposed increases by elected officials begin a process known as truth in taxation. Prior to 1985, if there was a large shift in property values, the local government could either have a windfall of revenue when values rose, or there would be a budget shortfall if the property values fell. The effect was local governments didn't have a stable revenue source to create a budget from. There was also no protection to the taxpayer from an ever-rising tax burden. This prompted a conversation among the Utah Taxpayers Association, Tax Commission, and the Utah Association of Counties to come up with a more dependable tax policy. What we got was truth in taxation. Under truth in taxation, revenue is limited to the previous year's budget, plus any new growth within the county. If there is a need to raise the budget, the county has to engage in a truth in taxation hearing and notification process with the public. The idea being that elected officials would think twice about raising taxes, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. Truth in taxation made the property tax more stable because it focused on revenue rather than the rate. When property values go up, the rate goes down. And when property values fall, the rate goes up because the budget stays the same as the previous year, plus any new growth within the county. It is the rate that changes. The stability of the property tax due to truth in taxation is best demonstrated by the recent recession. Income and sales taxes followed the trends of a down economy, while the property tax held its own. The large shifts in property taxes and revenue of decades past have since smoothed out, and local governments have a more stable source of revenue to budget from. Citizens have the peace of mind and transparency that local governments can't raise taxes without holding public meetings and going through the truth in taxation process. However, there is a sentiment by some that truth in taxation has worked too well. Some communities hesitate to raise taxes even as costs to the county from vendors have increased. Eventually, the budget gets stretched too thin, and local government has to go through the process, usually resulting in a major tax hike. But the question remains, is the issue with the law, or does it have more to do with the elected leaders not wanting to be held responsible for raising taxes? We'll dive into the details in our roundtable. Chad?